welcome to Soul Talk Podcast. And today I have the wonderful Rio Samuels. So we've literally just been like, everyone before we even got to this. It always happens, end up talking about everything actually we would have talked about in the podcast before we actually end up starting. Because we don't get to see each other that much, do we? And so we end up like trying to talk about a lot when we do see each other, but it's always really lovely. So I just wanted to start just by you just introducing yourself. What is it you do?
So hi everyone. I want to say hi everyone. So I'm Rio. I'm 31 now. Oh, it's scary to think now. 31. I teach dance. I've been teaching dance for a very long time. Been a performer, now judging. Yeah. These days I was kind of like looking for like new talent to come through, and still like teaching teams, and obviously still doing performances and trying to find like the balance between obviously the dance situation and obviously working after dance as well. So yeah, it's been a nice journey. It's been a nice journey, nice way to kind of like think ahead, like think forward, because I think that was something that was left out. Like because like we kind of got told, you know what I mean, obviously it's like performance this, you know what I mean, everything's about obviously being on the stage, performing the bright lights. And there's actually more fields to than just being on the stage. There's so many different avenues that obviously we don't really get to talk about or cherish or embrace.
Yeah, so. Do you know, it's so true that in my head I was always about fame and wanting to be on stage and some sort of like spotlight, and actually I've ended up going so far away from that as I've grown up. So just tell us about the other sort of aspects you've learned then about dance that's not just about like performing.
So with obviously with the industry, there's like everything that goes behind it. So it's like even like your technical team, like how they work, and like the organization for like people that organize events and the work that they have to do for organized events. I've tried different like types of jobs within the field as well. Like tried being a booking agent, which was really interesting. It was really interesting to see how like that role is like how quick you have to be like to catch the clientele, and you're trying to like it's like being the first person to like the ride, say like on the journey, and you want to have like the nice budgeting schemes, obviously work around someone else's budget, but as well you still want to make sure your entertainers are getting what they deserve, because obviously the work that they have to put in, which on a regular scale, people who like I say are not in the industry, they don't see, because they're just used to obviously the magic that they may see for, say if you're doing a 10-minute show or a half an hour show or an hour show, they're just used to that magic whilst it's there, but they don't see behind the scenes of like the organization and the stress levels that people go through.
So much goes into it. So much goes into what sometimes can be very like short performances and just a sort of minutes of entertainment, what can go on in the background. There's all sorts of levels.
And it's the work, and for things to be such a quick turnaround, you have to have a level of skill to do that. And sometimes it's not even just about, okay, you've done your training, you're used to kind of the scenarios, but you're not really used to the scenarios till you're in them scenarios. Because you have to, like, you know, you know it yourself, like you can go on 5 minutes before a show starts or in a rehearsal, something can happen. You got to rearrange everything. Okay, the stress.
That's it. And so not even like just being organised for that event, but being organised enough to be able to handle any changes that might just suddenly happen, which I think in our industry is ongoing, like it's forever changing. It's hard to like even keep up with it, isn't it? There's like even things like with teams and stuff, you know, a dancer might get injured or someone might come out, or you know, you have to adapt and change on the spot so quickly all the time. It's a lot of pressure to be under, isn't it?
It's a lot of pressure, but I feel like we're at a level. I know we'll say we are at a level. I think everyone who's in it is at a level to be able to like do that, and like I said, we've had to go through that first to be able to pass it on. It is having that experience. If you don't know it, it's foreign. It's completely it's like it's mind-boggling, and it's like calculations all the time. It's pieces to a jigsaw. Like you've got to make sure that it fits the dancers that are already there, and then do you know what I mean? You got to make sure that they're doing the best that they can do, but also it's the representation of yourself. It's like from what you're doing. So it's everything all into one, which like I said, people do not see. They don't see the like you'll know definitely. I was owning the studio, like the late night conversations that you'll have. Like you can go through class, something could have gone so well. Do you know what I mean? But then you could get a message, oh, well, this person feels the type of way about this, and all these, like, people come from different backgrounds, or people could be struggling with this and that, and then you're the person that's handling them situations. Do you know what I mean? So it's
you
like,
literally hit the nail on the head of like everything I sort of had in my head lately as well. And you know, you were saying that actually there's quite a big difference earlier about teaching and being a dancer. Like,
Definitely.
talk to me about that.
Definitely. So I feel like when you're a dancer, like, you're used to someone orchestrating what you do. So you can, you know, you're learning the styles to go through someone else's formula.
Yeah.
So you're used to that construction. And then when you're obviously becoming a teacher, you're laying out your own foundations. And yes, it's through the teachings that you know, but then you've also got to rejig it for the room. Do you know what I mean? So you got to instill your own type of like morals and, do you know what I mean, your purpose behind what you're doing. Yeah, definitely. Because it's not as simple. Like, the teachers that we have like today, like the things that we have learned from our teachers, like, which obviously has been watered down a little bit because it's a bit more lenient now.
Yeah,
it's definitely a lot more lenient.
We'll come to that later because I feel like that's a whole different field, isn't it?
Whole different field. But it's like, you know what I mean, you are that top person. You have to be that top person. Where as a dancer, you don't have to be the top person. You can be the best dancer like out there, but you're still in a system, which you have to focus on being in that system. How's your role work within that system? You don't have to be the pinpoint. You're not the center of attention. You have to fill the group, and your energy is just as important, or I say how you dance, for that team and the whole success of the team. Whereas a teacher, you have to, like I said, you have to be the top. You're the be all and end all. Everyone looks up, not the be all and end all, but everyone looks up to you. You're that top priority to like trickle down, obviously, the morals and everything within that system for them to then later translate.
Yeah.
Which is, like I said, again, both sides pressure. Like, it's, I mean, there's a nice balance between like, I don't know how to explain this bit, but nice balance between like thinking you know everything, but being in a position to learn everything that you need to know. Sorry, that was like a riddle.
Yeah, it's so interesting that, because when you're in the momentum of things, and I think for a lot of dancers, we all take as many performance opportunities as we can, and so you do get to dip into sort of performance side as well as teaching. I think for many, you know, even if it's only the odd job here and there, you're so in the flow of that, you never actually realise that there's quite a big difference between it. Because sometimes, as much as we love teaching, it's also nice to be taught.
Yes.
You never want to sort of lose that. And I think as a performer, it's quite nice to be under someone else's guidance sometimes, isn't it? Than being the person that's guiding.
Definitely.
All the time.
Because we need that guidance. We do need that guidance. People forget that.
Always. Well, you never get to a point, I don't think, where you're just like, you fully know everything.
No, nowhere near.
You're always learning, and things are always changing, and you have to keep growing and adapting with that. Yeah.
And like, even when you have conversations with people that are older than us, like, they haven't got anything figured out. I've started to realize this.
Yeah.
We think everyone had it figured out when we were looking up to them. And
that's it. In our 20s, we were like, by 30, I'm going to know everything, like all of it.
It went out the window. It went out the window, like so far out the window. There's so many changes, obviously, with life in general. So, you know what I mean? Being adaptable is key. That's the only thing I can say. Being adaptable is key. And there's nothing wrong with, like, actually, we've talked about before, like, it's like taking a back step. Sometimes just seeing things for what they are and embracing it. Do you know what I mean? Because we're so in the forefront, and the industry, like, as a whole, like, in every department, is so demanding. It is so demanding. Like, people want things now, like, quick, fast, in a hurry. There's no patience for anything.
No.
Like, same thing we talked about social media. You hit social media, everything's about now, what's present. Are you doing this job? Are you doing that? How's your life?
Yeah, that's it. And so we were actually saying, like, one of the points of sort of why this podcast was created and why I think it's great to have something very like real talk based is that we were just saying earlier that we just feel like on social media, a lot of things are sort of sugar coated, and you know, you're always going to see the glamorous side of stuff. Not a lot of people are going to want to post the background of stuff and the downsides, you know, because I feel like it's a good in a way that we're sharing positive things, but also you need the realness so that people are prepared for that journey.
Definitely.
And so we were just saying actually that it'd be nice to talk about the background of all the glamour that you see posted, because it's a lot. It's a lot. And you mentally go through a lot to get to the product that people see on Instagram as well. And so you've been teaching a very long time and you've dipped into other areas that aren't teaching as well. What have you enjoyed the most? When you look back, what are the moments where you're like, that? See, that filled my soul.
So there's a few different ones. I think if I start with myself first, to see, I was trying to think. Well, when I look back now, I try to think from literally where I came from. I was a lad from Bolton. Do you know what I mean? My area wasn't exactly the nicest of areas, but at the time, you don't think that because it's what you know. Do you know what I mean? It's what you know. It's normal. You go through it. The friends that you see every day. You kind of just you're in it. You know what I mean? You're in them situations. You're just like, all right, cool, it's great. Yeah. But then to come out of it and think, wow, I've done a lot. Do you know what I mean? Being able to travel, going off to college. My college was in Liverpool. For me, being obviously a young kid, I never thought about traveling outside of Bolton. Not too much. We did little competitions as kids, but it wasn't just traveling outside and being outside of Bolton. You always come back home. Everything was come back home. Do you know what I mean? You're out for a little bit, you're back home. Do you know what I mean? So to think I've had a journey where I've been outside, I have come back home, I've been able to stay outside, and then when I go back home now, it's to see what things have changed, some things haven't changed at all, which is nice. Sometimes that is nice when things haven't changed.
Home's home sometimes.
Yes, home is home. Would I stay there? No. It's a visit interest.
And so we stay for long enough and we're like, get me out of here.
Literally, I'm like, this is why I do what I do. This is
that's
it's the experiences you get to bring back. Do you know what I mean? I've been able to travel the country. Been able to travel the country, do different jobs, been able to travel outside the country. We've been able to perform outside the country. We've been outside. We did Ireland together. Yeah. Which was sick.
That was cool.
That was one of the best times.
I loved our performance. So I used to work with a company that travelled abroad a lot, and then it's been really nice because along the way I've got to take some dance and stuff with me, and on this particular one we'd gone to Ireland. I mean, it had its pros and cons, I'm not going to lie. We was on very little money, just putting it out there. We eating crackers for tea.
we made it work.
We made it work, but it was a really nice group of people, and we mingled and sort of collabed with other artists who were all really, not just dance, different people from different areas of Europe,
Portugal, Italy.
That's it, yeah. And the whole idea was sort of flash mob performing within the communities. Definitely. And the aim of that project as well is to sort of bring vibrance to, not just underprivileged areas, but just areas that don't have a lot of that as well.
Definitely.
And I just remember our performance being there's some big lifts in that.
Some lifts.
Huge lifts in that.
We had some lifts. It was sick. I said, for one, I do want to thank you for the opportunity to do that.
No, it was nice.
And it was actually a nice experience for us to get to know each other. Not as well just in the dance format. It was a bit crazy. Yeah, I went a bit crazy. I still remember that to this day. I hold that and I'm like, yeah, my life was crazy then. All right, but the thing is, it was nice being with a group of friends, good friends, and no one judged each other for situations.
That's it, and it's part of the process of life. I know for myself, also going through it seems to be a weird time actually when we went, because I feel like we were all in the process of something. And actually looking back now, I feel like we're quite different people actually to that. And I'm like,
we got
who
to grow.
She?
We got to grow though, but if you don't go through them things, if you don't go through that, then do you know what I mean? You never kind of get over that hump of being able to okay, let me see how I can get to the other side, and just trust the process in getting to the other side. And I think that's an everyday process. That's an everyday thing.
I say that so much. Apart from there was one time I really couldn't trust the process. So you guys can't see this on camera, but this purple paint you can see here was lime green a few months ago. And I thought, do you know what, lime green with a contrasting purple. And then students kept coming in, they were like, Raz, what's going on? Definitely thought I was having a midlife crisis. And I'm like, guys, just trust the process. Trust the process. I believe in this. These are our new colours.
Green.
And then 2 weeks went by and I was like, no, that's not trust the process. I'm giving Beetlejuice vibes. This looks terrible. It's like Halloween in here every day. Not my thing.
Can you get brought back?
And then, so now by the way, it's purple and gold, which looks a lot better.
It's colours, man. It's colours.
So our colour is purple and gold now. Yeah, no lime green. I don't know what was going on there. This studio was actually originally like blue and yellow. Honestly, don't. Blue and yellow.
It's a sky.
It looked like a nursery. It just looked terrible. So sometimes, you know, you got to trust the process of watching it not work to know that it needs to be better. What's the moral of that story? Honestly, I have so many of these moments.
We do. Like, there's a lot of, like I said, people don't see, like I said before, don't see that side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not a failure, innit? It's a learning curve.
It's a learning curve, that's it. And I feel like, you know, I, at this age now, I'm not even afraid to call them failures because I feel like I've learned more from that than I have my wins. A lot of the time, you know, I feel like sometimes we're sort of in like a programmed habit of like only being happy when we're winning.
Definitely.
And like now I'm starting to be like, okay, this process feels like horrendous at the moment, but try and find like what it is you need to learn through this and enjoy that. Because if you only enjoy those, like I posted something actually about this the other day, like only enjoying like when you're on holiday or you know the perks of life, but what the process is the most part of your life.
Definitely.
And if you're not enjoying that, how much of your life are you actually enjoying?
Exactly.
You know, and that really hit home with me, that because I'm definitely that person. Like if I've booked a holiday, I'm like, I'm going to be so happy when I get on that holiday. Like, but I'm just going to be like up and down until then. But when that holiday comes, I'm going to be the happiest I've ever been.
I'm here for it. Like, but it's like that. Like, and I don't think with, like I said, I know putting into this new generation, I think there's a lot what goes with it, which I won't get to. I'm going to get to.
Yeah.
But like even like for a holiday for like us now, like that's a win. Like that is a win. Like I said, I've just come back from going away. Like for me, that was a win.
Yeah,
like,
where did you go?
Went to Portugal. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Went to Portugal. Yeah, we went 5 days. So that actually wasn't a dance holiday at all. Which was
right. Yeah, because I've actually not known you to actually be on a holiday like break holiday. So I did see it and was like, "Oh, go you! Look at him, like
that's so
living your best life."
I think the last time I actually went away. I don't even know if I can class these as like actually going away trips now because I've done like 1 day trips. Don't ask. You think, like, why
there'll be a few who we know about these 1 day trips.
Like these,
we all turn up for like 12 hours.
I've made my mark. I've made my mark on these little short trips. I've made my mark for it now. Right. So like, I did that twice. This was like 2 years ago. So one was for both of them were 2 of my friends' birthdays. So like Cheeks and her partner.
Yeah.
So obviously that 1 day trip. Did that out, like go out. It's all like I said, the madness behind it. Like I said, no one sees the madness. It was all crazy.
Yeah,
but having the best time. Like to this time where it was an actual holiday, and it wasn't one of them ones where it was like I said, it wasn't about dance. This was going back home. These were people I've grown up with. Do you know what I mean? Like people like close people that I've grown up with. Do you know what I mean? Like from like I said, one of my cousins from birth. Like there's only 2 months between us. You know what I mean? So
that's really nice.
So and for us to do this, and it was the first boys' holiday, but obviously it was a stag do.
Oh, was it a stag?
It was for his brother-in-law. So
there might be some things we can't talk about on this.
Yeah, some of it.
I know what goes on in those stag do's.
All right.
Whereabouts in Portugal did you go?
We went Albufeira.
Oh, it was so. Yeah, we went there a couple of years ago. It's so nice.
Oh my god, I love it.
Yeah, it was the first time Lee's gone as well, and I was like, I'm pretty in love with that place. It's so good.
It's beautiful. Like it was.
Did you go to the old town?
Oh yeah, we went to both. We went to obviously Newtown.
Yeah, Newtown's crazy. That's just one street of absolute chaos.
That's where the detox came in.
Yeah. It was good, but the old town then such a contrast and so like authentic and just beautiful.
The beach over there. Like I said, we went over there. We got a steak. I'm not really a steak eater that often. Yeah. But obviously, you go to certain places, you kind of got to do it. Like just do it. Like I said, we've worked for this. I've worked for this holiday. So this is, you know what I mean, we planned. Obviously, this one was planned. But when lads plan anything, it doesn't stick to like lads plan. It's chaotically organized. So you know what I mean. You kind of go with the flow, but it made sense. And it wasn't just. I'm still classing us as young. We are young. So it wasn't just us. It was even. You know what I mean? Like my cousin's like father-in-law, like he was on there, his friends were on there. Now obviously it's the family and then the friends, you know what I mean, between us all. and it was nicely spread out.
Yeah, sort of a nice balance of different things. Yeah, because I'm sort of at that age as well now where like I do like partying, like I forget how much I like partying, but I can't do it all day, every day. Like, you know, I might need like a nice glass of wine and a sit on the beach for a bit as well.
But,
you
like,
know,
too much. Like, so we partied a lot. Like, it got to a point. Like, we partied quite a lot, and even I had to. I went into work mode. I got like 3 days in. I was in work mode straight away, but not in like to a point where I'm like, oh, I need to be on my phone. It was just like the networking aspects of it, and just enjoying it. And you still got to make your contacts over there because, like, in anywhere you go, because you don't know.
You sort of didn't want to miss the opportunities if they did come up. Yeah, and I get that, and that makes sense because how often are you going to get to go to Portugal? And, you know, I feel like paths cross when they're supposed to pass. You know, so I don't judge you for that.
No, not at all. Like, it hit, like I said, 2-3 days I was okay with it. Got to like the fourth day, I was like, right, work.
Yeah, and you know, when you don't have a break a lot, 3 days can feel like
a long time.
A long time, doesn't it? I think sometimes in our sort of industry, like a few hours of downtime is like, oh, that was really nice. Okay, let's get going again. I always say like I can't wait for holidays and stuff, and then same, I get like sort of 3-4 days in, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do with myself.
You start twiddling your thumbs. It's like, okay, we've done what we needed to do.
Yeah,
it's like,
especially when you're physically like involved in your job, like then you sort of with dance and stuff, you just sort of get this like energy in you where you're like, I need to do something.
It's a buzz. It's like it's learning how to wind down, and I think like you don't get, like we talked about it earlier on, like you don't really get that chance. Everything's like now.
Yeah,
and like sometimes like being able to just switch off your phone for a bit, and I'm very ignorant. I'm very ignorant. It is amazing. So yeah, if I don't answer you back, people, I don't care.
We love you.
I love you.
We need headspace.
Yeah, I love myself that bit more.
Like, that, you know what? That is it. I used to feel selfish, even like thinking that or doing that. Now I've realized it is so necessary.
Yes, it is.
It's necessary because if we don't switch off, we can't be like teacher stroke, counselor stroke, you know, holding space for people because we haven't even done that for ourselves. You know, it's not selfish. It's really, really necessary.
Exactly. So you got to love yourself before you can love anyone else. That's always the saying. That's been.
I've been waiting for this day for you to say that. That is it. Yes.
So yeah,
that is it. That is so key. Like I just feel like once you realise that, your life just turns around and it just changes so much because you're just attracting everything that's like really meant for you because you love yourself enough to bring in those great things.
And everything brings themselves. They start bringing themselves.
You get me emotional. Honestly, like because as your friend, that is something I've always been like, yeah, you want to sort of hear that from your friends, and when they get there, it's like, oh, that's so nice.
Okay, we're still trying. We're still trying. I think it's an everyday.
Of course, it's still a process. You know, it's not just like you love yourself and then that's it. It's like okay, it's an everyday challenge now. With remember, you got to prioritize yourself. You know, and we all do it.
Definitely.
I'm a huge like sucker for that as well. I have to keep going back, and you need people around you to be going. Go back because you said you were going to do this. Remember that was important.
Yeah. I see, and I'm glad you said that as well. Like you've got to be able to have a team. Like it's good to be able to do things on your own, which is great. You know, you've got to be able to switch off, which is great as well. But you've also got to have a team that understand that.
Yeah.
And I mean, they want the best for you. Like if you want the best for yourself, your team's got to want the best for you as well. Because you can exert your energy into the wrong people because you want to fit into a team. You want to fit into spaces. And this was something like I had a conversation like the other day. We have a group chat between the four of us. We've got 4 of us that were in the group chat, just like I said, boys from home. And we got asked the question like, what's one thing you would tell yourself?
Oh my God, I love that.
Like,
you know, when I want you to definitely go back to that. Don't lose that a sec. But I just love that there's actually a male group of friends. And, you know, when I say this with Adam and his friends, some of the conversations I hear, because, you know, through video chats and stuff, I'm like, wow, that's so nice. Because to me, I've always been like, oh, females sort of can talk like that sometimes. But it's so nice to see males actually have that sort of support system. And even more so for coloured males as well, because I feel like sometimes it can come with a stereotype.
Definitely.
Of like, oh, we only talk about like, you know, just in general with males. So that's so nice that you have that. So what were some of the responses?
So like there was a response of like obviously normal day stress and like kind of just feeling like floating. It's literally just like floating, just feeling just aimless. But
so the question was, what was one thing you'd go back and sort of tell your past self?
Past self. So it was what you tell yourself, obviously what you tell yourself, but I changed it for myself, what I tell my younger self. And for me, my one was, it's okay not to fit in.
Yeah.
It's okay not to fit in. It's okay. It's fine. I'm not saying I don't fit into places, like I fit in everywhere I go, which I think is a great thing. But at the same time, you don't have to be the main character. Do you know what I mean? I'm my own main character in my own time, which is great. Do you know what I mean? And even like I said, with the lads, they have different stresses. Do you know what I mean? We all have different stresses. Everyone has different goals. Some people have money goals. Some people have family goals. Some people have obviously work goals. You know what I mean? And it's the balance between all of it, and understanding that. You know what I mean? Everyone's got to a certain point for a reason. Do you know what I mean? And you are shining in your field, even if it feels like it's not. You actually are. If you go back if you go back 10 years ago and think where you started, even 15 years ago and think where you started, think about where you've come. Really, really look back, and I reflect a lot. I'll go back to my Facebook, and I'll go back. I think, oh my god, I did this. I do this every few months.
I feel like more. That's nice. That's something that probably needs to do more.
It's like a journey, because it's a journey, isn't it? It's a journey, and you can go back and think, you know what? Oh, well, this was this part of time in life. This was a good part. This was a bad part. How did I learn from this? A question that I ask myself a lot is, am I the same person definitely from 10 years ago? And I feel like that there's been a major change with that, which is not a bad thing. There's still things I'm learning, of course, definitely learning.
Yeah.
But I know I'm not that same person. Because even people that have seen me from back then, and they only know that person from back then, not the person of now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is
the whole, don't judge me at the chapter you've come in.
Yeah.
Because, even if that chapter is amazing and, people have a positive outlook on that, it still can't really be judged without knowing the history of what the process were to get there, and it's hard when I've known some people from sort of 10 years ago who haven't seen me since, but only remember that version of me. And it's whoa, it's been 10 years. So
too much
this is a whole brand new updated version now.
You need to unwrap the package now. You need to unwrap that. Come on, Chris has been 2 times over.
But yeah, that's really you hit the nail on the head there.
We go through some chats, and people don't see them things. We were talking about before, how people see the happy side all the time. I can't say there's not a lot of happy moments. There's a lot of happy moments, and I'm thankful for the position I've been able to get to.
Yeah.
But for me, that's a checkpoint. I'm at this checkpoint. But the journey behind that, everything that happened in between, the windy roads, the circles, do you know what I mean? The swirls in between, and do you know what I mean? There's a lot of craziness that happened. And, do you know what I mean? It's being able to deal with them situations, and do you know what I mean? Come back and think, all right, okay. Do you know what I mean? Look back from someone else's point of view. A lot of the time I have to do that, because sometimes you can see things from your point of view and be stuck in that point and not thinking, well.
And so many of us do it. I know. I'll put my hands up and be like, 100% can be so stubborn.
Yeah.
And I credit people who can do that, because it's a massive thing to do, and it gives you a completely different outlook.
Definitely.
I always feel like you need to look at the other side of the story always. Yeah.
Well, it's been. I said for me, I think there's a lot of growth in myself, and I think it has to start there for me. For us to be able to move to the next, be in this next generation of aspiring people, not even just dancers, just aspiring people. We've got to be able to do that work on ourselves first, for them to understand that, so we can lead them to do the best work on themselves first. You know what I mean? For the next chapters, and then.
So where do you see yourself in what are you now, 31? I'm 35.
Ooh,
excuse me.
I'm joking.
Do you know what? I've not had one positive reaction about me being 35 yet. I got 35, they're like, what?
You've juiced though. But you got so many tales as well, in 35 years, which people would never understand.
I know, and I've said this is a whole. I did about 20 podcasts for this. By maybe 39 going to 40. Like, not that we have to like have things by a certain age. Like, I've realized in myself now that's something I've had to learn to like let go of.
Yeah.
Because things just happen in divine time,
Yes,
and like that is just the way it works, and that's okay. Where do you sort of like see yourself in terms of like what would you like to grow further in, or what's the sort of message and mark you'd like to be able to leave by then?
So,
or enhance.
This is
a hard question.
That is a very hard question. I'm like this every day. I'm like, okay, where do I see myself? Do
you sort of set out goals and stuff? Like, are you a manifester?
I do like to manifest. I think I need to start writing things down a lot more. A lot of the time, I try and channel things in my brain because I feel like my brain channels the vision. And I can just do it. Do you know what I mean? I'm more of a doer. Like, I like to and just kind of get to it instead of sitting down and resonating with it at the time. But like, okay, I need to get to this point because I know if I definitely see it and I've not got to that point, my stress levels are going to be worse. So I kind of like take things as they come. Get frustrated on the way. Do get very frustrated on the way, but then I've done it like since I've got back. I had to do it again. Because I was very frustrated before I went away, thinking, oh my God, things aren't working out the way I need to work. Obviously, yes, I'm working this, but then I'm trying to balance like being back with family and do you know what I mean? Because like, you know this, Raz, the sacrifice that you have to make, especially family time, friendship time, social time. Like, it's a lot of sacrifice that gets put into this. And obviously we have our own community, we have our own bubble. I really think the dance industry is a bubble. Just like any other job, everyone has their own bubble. Like, we have our own bubble and we're used to this, and we think obviously everyone we meet is going to be our friends because we do the same thing and all this. But sometimes it's just that's people that pass you by. Do you know what I mean? I've got so many friends within the dance industry. I said we're friends within the dance industry, but we've also had real friendship moments. Like, you are actually a friend. Do you know what I mean? Where some people just know me specifically from dance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, when I go back home, it's like, I like that going back home because it's the people I've generally grown up with.
Yeah, and that's it. And I suppose they know more about you. They know the whole journey rather than just glimpses of it. You know, and I think in our industry, I think there's, you notice big changes when you can no longer offer someone something or the opportunity is not there. I feel like the treatment then can really change. And, you know, I think unfortunately, because our industry is very much about grabbing opportunities, you know, if you don't have something sort of consistent weekly, then it's about, okay, I need to get this. And it can sort of feel a bit doggy.
It is.
Well,
it is. It
fully is. And that is hard. That was one thing, like, for me, that was like, okay, I can no longer offer you something, and that's why we now don't have this like same connection, you know. And I think it's just being kind without an agenda.
Definitely.
It.
So I like how you put that. Yeah. Like, literally, because like I said, I'm going to be honest, I struggle with trust. Like I said, I'm going to get onto like moving forward now. I haven't forgot the question. But I struggle.
I was going to remind you anyway.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm here. I'm still here. Like, it's going to all link. It's all going to link.
Yeah, let's go.
Like, I struggle with trust, like, because there's been so many people that like, I feel I trust very, very easily, and I'm like, okay, I'm all in. Like, I'm not even. I can't be like I'm all in for one, or I'm not there at all. This I think I'm finding balance. I'm not. I'm slowly trying to edge to the middle, slowly, and sometimes going all in for people, you can go all in for the wrong people, and like you said, agendas can come up where, okay, you're putting your all, but in the day you're only boosting up someone else. They're not really trying to help you boost, like trying to boost up you. Hence what we talked about before, coming back to having a team that to help you grow. It is with, like I said, friendships are very important. Like, being able to talk to people is very important.
Yes, yeah.
Outside the field, if you generally have if you can draw that fine line when you go, right, well, I know what it is, and we keep it at that. Like, at least then you kind of have that point where you're like, I see you, you see me, we know where we're going from, we keep it there. But then the people you've got in your corner, okay, let's open up a little bit more. Hence, like, group chat with the boys. Like, we can open up a bit more.
I get that, yeah.
Like, right now, like, we're having a conversation. This is about opening up as well and being truthful to what we're doing. And like, seeing where everyone else's goals are too, and seeing like, okay, I feel like this because of this. You feel like that because of that.
Yeah.
Okay, what can we all do as a group to balance it out? Because what you're going through is probably something I need.
Yeah.
What I'm going through is probably something that you need.
Yeah.
Or your skills are better in that field than me, so that's why we have these conversations.
Let me help you in this way. Yeah, of course.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it can work. Like I said, going back to our group chat, there's 4 of us, there's 4 different scenarios. But between the 4 of us, we can all help each other because someone else is going through a different scenario, which is what someone else aspires to be in. So it's like, okay, we do need to help each other. We can help each other.
Yeah.
We've got to find that common ground.
Yeah.
So once we also get to that point where we're like, okay, let's have these conversations, which what we actually want to do, not just by a chat. We want to have these in person.
And is this certain group like a group that you would say is sort of like outside of the dance industry?
Yeah.
And does that really help then? Because sometimes it can be a blessing and a curse knowing, being around people who are just in dance all the time. It can sometimes be the sort of crumbling of you. It can be like amazing, but sometimes that can really be a crumbling of you because you've constantly got the comparisons or different perspectives of all one subject. Definitely. So have you felt mentally better actually having friends outside of the industry as well?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying people do this, but like I said, my thought process now, like especially on trust, obviously things that have happened in the past, and like I said, you're subconsciously going to always have that in the back of your brain. It's like, if I tell you this, are you going to try and use this against me to get yourself ahead? And technically there's no competition. Like the only competition that's being made is the competition that we create. The only competition you should really have is with yourself to be that 1% better every day. And
so has that thought of, can I trust this person with this information? You know, I feel like that wouldn't be there if it wasn't for an experience where that's been proven.
There's been experiences that have been proven, and I'm just like, you can't. You know what? You'd rather not. I'd rather not. You'd rather not test them waters again because you've seen it happen. So, like talking to people that genuinely, like I said, do know you prior to the expectation of what people want. Because I can't even say it's like sometimes we can want it for ourselves, but not want it enough. And I'm one of the people that's like, I don't want it to that extreme.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of sacrifice that already goes in for the things we already do. To want it to another extreme, to the point to try and get myself to this point, I'd rather not. I'd rather not. Like it's not worth it. Like for me, it's not. Well, that's just for me. I don't think it's worth it. Where I'm talking to people that, like I said, that generally I can have a conversation with, and it doesn't have to be about hierarchies.
Yeah.
We're all level. We're all in the same boat. Like, okay, you do need people that are hired than you to obviously explain situations to understand. Like things do get better.
Yeah.
But as well, you've got to have them situations where let's be on the same playing field. Let's be all on the same playing field, and we know like I said, how can we build together? Because you need you want a table where we can all eat. You know what I mean? And everyone, like I said, everyone's in their own lane. And it's remembering that we're all in our own lane. Yes, like, I mean, within the dance industry, like everyone's striving for, obviously, like I said, if you want to do jobs, you want to do jobs. You want to do modeling, you want to do modeling. If you want to also be a teacher, you want to be a teacher. Like, but it's all fine because that's your lane.
Yeah.
And be proud of the lane that you're choosing. Like.
So what are sort of, I'm gonna go in here.
Let's go.
What are the sort of the red flags of like tampering with my trust?
One, obviously, if I've told you something, I don't want to hear it, like, because that circles, and especially like you know, like things circle fast.
Very fast.
Fast.
Even when they've been promised that they weren't going to circle.
Yeah.
You know, and you know yourself, things get circled with embellishment.
Yeah.
You know, everything's Chinese whispers all the time. Oh. I mean, everywhere. It's very rare you have something that's been spoken about and then it gets around to the end of the circle and this is actually originally what you said.
Definitely.
You know, and it causes so many problems and issues, you know. You sort of think, oh, I should have just like kept that one in my head.
Definitely. And like I said, you had situations where, not to say I've said something, but like something probably would have gone on. And the story that came back to me, even I was sat there like, oh, this is great. I didn't know this happened. Like, thanks for telling me. and it was about me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
like, I did what? Like, oh, great. Do you know what I mean? It's like that. So like I said, situations like that, you just like, I kind of trust you. Nah, I can keep your arm's length. I can keep your arm's length. And then sometimes it can be the point where, honestly, listen, people may want to have conversation, but if you're telling everyone else's business, me personally, I don't care about someone else's business.
No.
Like, this is not what I want to hear.
Honestly,
like
I'm so past it now.
Yeah.
I think I've sort of like trained myself that much in my head to like not like that person, because I don't want to be talked about in that way. So I certainly don't want to hear other people then have to go through that, because I think when you've been that person who's been spoken about and, you know, have put your trust in people and it's been broken, you really don't want to hear other people then being that person. And, you know, not just talking about them, but being that person that's being talked about as well. You just feel awful. You can sympathize with that person straight away. And I think the more you don't want to be around that, the more uncomfortable it is. But I feel like that's right.
Yeah, like
if you feel uncomfortable with that, you're doing the right thing by not entertaining it.
And like I say, it's so easily done. Like it's so easily done. Like I'm not saying like no one doesn't talk about it. Obviously, we all may have like you have your little rants.
Yeah, of course.
But you can't just be like, I'm gonna just be gunning for people. I'm not saying people are trying to gun for me, but I'm just putting it in the general aspect.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
because it's toxic to you, it's toxic to them, like, but then like I said, you don't know how someone else is feeling in the background. Like they could be going through a situation which has caused them at this moment in time to be acting a certain way.
Exactly that. And the whole thing of like knowing the whole journey and not just like that moment.
Definitely.
Because, you know, what you then decide to say about that, you don't know how much that might affect that person, especially if you didn't see the other perspectives of it.
Definitely.
And you only go with your tunnel vision. It can really ruin like somebody, you know. And I feel like this is probably like a big thing with people that are like famous as well, is like how much one little thing can tarnish what everyone else thinks about that person. And actually that was just them in that moment learning and processing their stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. 100%.
Don't get me wrong, there are smart souls out there.
Oh yeah.
Like, this isn't everybody.
Not everyone's gold, man. I'm not saying
but like we're all out of character at some point.
Yeah.
You know, I know for myself, like I can be actually being out of character for me is like more the other way, where I'm very like quiet and sort of shut down. There's nothing, because I'm just like, no, I'm gone now. I'm just not going to put any energy out at all. You know,
so you have to protect your energy. You have to protect your energy. And like coming back to that, like you said about famous people, like how they, you know what I mean, like one thing, right? And now it's like it's the same thing. Obviously, when it trickles down to us, like it's one thing could go wrong. You know what I mean? And it's just like that. Like it's the reputation. You build yourself up so much. Like there's so many bricks you've got to layer, and do you know what I mean? And it can take one thing.
Yeah.
Just to knock all that down.
That's and especially when you know you're really conscious of working on yourself, and that's a constant thing all the time of like understanding that we all have flaws and we're aware of what those are and trying to better ourselves. It can be even more hurtful then, can't it? Because you just like, you have no idea what's going on like here, like on here, what I'm like working through. Literally. You know, just I think more understanding.
Yeah, it's we've got to understand people. Like everyone's different. Like everyone comes from different backgrounds, and do you know what I mean? It's also one thing that puts us together, because we come from different backgrounds.
Yeah,
it really is. Like there's no duplicates. Even twins aren't duplicates. Like they're duplicates, but they're not duplicates.
But they're different people.
Different personalities.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? So it's understanding different people's personalities, understanding yourself, trying to understand yourself, because that can change every day. Them 24 hours, they definitely do change. They definitely change. And it's just.
So you're someone who's, obviously we all know as being like very vibrant. Like I know loads of people will agree with this. If Rio comes into a room, like the energy's going to pick up. The energy's just going to be like, woo! Like, you know, and you do bring that. And I've spoken to you about this before, how amazing it is, how much you can light up different environments in a room, you know, and that's so nice to be around. It's, you know, you want to be around that sort of energy. So like what, and I did say I was going to ask you this today, obviously we all have like our sort of like down
Yeah.
days as well,
Yeah.
and you know, moments where we sort of need to hibernate a little
yeah.
bit and process things.
Oh yeah.
What advice would you give in terms of like when you are having those days? What helps pick you up? Like, because your energy is like, it can be unmatched sometimes. Like, even at my sort of like giddiest, sort of highest points, I wouldn't be able to stay up there for that long. That's just personally my personality, though, where I have to sort of like contain myself sometimes. So, like, what advice would you give there, and like, what keeps you like uplifted?
This one. Actually, you hit me again. I'm like, oh, I have to change the seating. I have to change my position for this.
So what? I'm gonna go with like it's a high vibrational energy. What keeps you high vibration? Or is it not that? Is it actually that's what you're doing for other people?
Yeah, I'm gonna say you hit the nail with that one. I think it is more like it is for other people as well as for myself. It is more for other people because like me personally, my downtime, like I need to just have me. Like sometimes it can literally I can be a wandering soul. Like I would definitely say like sometimes I'm a wandering soul and I can feel very lost, like very, very lost. Like things get cloudy, I'm just like, do you know what I mean? Like the pause button hits where I don't know, obviously I don't know how I feel about myself. I can feel there's days obviously I can love myself, and there's days where I can absolutely hate myself. Like, and I'm honest about that. I'm just like, if I'm not like sometimes you'll know this now. You'll start seeing people like sometimes if I'm not having a haircut, like let my hair grow out. I could be just going through it right in that moment. Just be like, yep, I just want to be He-Man for a little bit. Like just have that little just gruff moment, just to kind of it's kind of like to base myself, let myself feel rubbish because there's nothing wrong with feeling rubbish. Like everyone sees me out. Like it is about, you know what I mean? We're outside. Everything that's going on, I'm shutting it off. Because the moments that I'm with people are, like I said, outside trying to obviously lift an energy, that isn't important at that time. That's my problem. These are my problems. So my problems shouldn't rain on someone else's day. Okay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, can you enjoy yourself? Yes, I can enjoy myself. I want to enjoy myself. I want you to enjoy myself. Like, enjoy yourselves. Honestly, I'm fulfilled by seeing other people enjoy themselves. I love it because then I know, right? Oh, do you know what? Like, we've all had a good day. Like, I put my absolute all into this. You reciprocated it, and that's elating in its own because you're just like I think you don't realize it's impactful. Like you kind of see it happening, but because you're in it, like you don't see the impact till later on, and you're like, oh, this is great. But like I said, the other side of it is like there's so much energy being spent. It can drain me out to the point. Like I said, I have to have my own time. If I'm feeling rubbish, I have to really let myself feel rubbish. Like let me have them days because then I'm working on myself. It's time to work on myself at that point because I know that I'm not okay. But sometimes the best person to deal with it is myself because it's my situation. I've got to be able to look at myself in the mirror every day. No one else is going to see me before me.
And so, do you think that it sort of goes back to the whole of loving yourself first, isn't it? Because even things like you're saying, like having a haircut, it's always externally. But although actually, it might make yourself feel better to a level. Yeah. Sometimes you just want to show everything externally off just for that moment because you're trying to work on the inside. Yeah. Something's going on the inside that needs attention. Definitely. I totally get that.
I was like, with the haircut, I don't have to leave the house with the haircut, which is all right, which is okay. Hey, gang, we had lockdown, right? We all had lockdown. Trust me, you can learn how to do things on your own these days. You can learn how to do things on your own.
Adam learned how to take my hair extensions out. Because I was, with the whole wedding thing and that, and I was like, oh no, I need to be able to take these nails off myself and someone needs to take this weave out of my hair. And now, I don't even bother going. I'm like, babe, will you just take my hair out for me?
See, it's
You'll save me like 70 quid.
This is what I'm saying. Like haircuts are expensive, like you know what I mean, like hair treatment, looking after yourself, like self-care, external self-care is expensive.
Is that just like a sort of a feeling of like just wanting to go back to the basics sometimes? I feel like sometimes when we're like, even, when you're trying to be more positive, you can end up creating yourself a bit of a to-do list. And then that can feel a little overwhelming sometimes because you've been like, well, I'm going to better myself in this way, this way, all in like 1 week. And and it's the whole thing of like now.
Yeah.
And like getting things done now,
Like sometimes you don't have to do things now. It's like, get things done what you need to get done, which I'm not saying don't do that.
Yeah, you gotta
also like just go like, well, like I said, let me have this time, let me do this. Like sometimes it's about figuring it out because like as kids, as kids, you had to, you had to figure things out sometimes on your own. If you ever bumped, you fell over, like, okay, it hurt. Great. Can I do it? Like, it's gonna happen again. How I'm gonna feel like ride a bike, you're gonna fall off a bike. Do you get back on the bike or do you just not learn to ride a bike? Do you know what I mean? You have to figure it out. You have to figure out how to pedal. And it's the same thing throughout life as well. Like you've got to be able to figure things out. Not everything can be given to you and put into place for you because that's how someone else has done something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So a lot of the time, like coming back to it, like I may feel rubbish, but I'll know how I can figure it out because I feel like I have that independence with myself.
So you sort of trust yourself more.
Yeah. I think you have to.
You trust that you're going to come out the other end because when it's happened multiple times, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, and it comes up a lot in podcasts. Is that in the moment, even when it feels like it's not going to pass, everything passes. And that for me, like. I had to sit with that for many years because I was like, even the good stuff passes. Those good moments do pass, and we always want to try and relive those moments again because we were like, it was so good. Like, say for example, like the boys' holiday, you sort of be like, oh, we'll do that again because you feel like it's going to feel exactly the same. It might not be exactly the same, it might still be good, but something might go wrong and something might not go like it did before either. And so like, everything passes all the time, and so you're so right in what you're saying, in that you have to be able to deal with the process of things and know that as long as you trust in yourself, that you can get out of that. Definitely. And that actually sometimes we're so trying to fix getting out of the other end, we don't realize actually we need to help ourselves during that process. Is what the thing is, isn't it? Not the product.
Not the product. I like that. That's like how you put it. How you put it, I'm like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense.
You know what? Because these are sort of like, I know you're probably like this as well. I'm such a thinker in my head. I have learned, actually, I'm going to share something with you actually that I learned this week that really has helped me so much, and it's such a quick and easy thing. And I'm going to shout out this lady. She runs an Instagram company called Bondi Guru.
Right.
And I read her horoscopes and stuff all the time. I'm such a horoscope person. Like, she probably doesn't realize it, but I do. It's like the first thing I do in the morning. It happens that her post is the first thing that comes on my phone in the morning as well. And so sometimes she does it in person, and she's a Piscean herself, which really helps me when you're a Pisces. But she's very spot on with stuff. And she said, she did a live and someone asked a question of like, how do I sort of get out of my head and ground myself again? And she was like, literally just take a big inhale through your nose, breathe out, and take your focus to that breath. Every time like something's been in my head or I've overthought or, subconsciously, that's where our negativity and ego is. And so it constantly wants to challenge us all the time. I've just been like, and like just focus on that, and it goes like to the point where it's just gone. And I'm like, oh, that really works. And it's just bringing yourself to present moment. And honestly, try it, because I can't believe how simple it is and how much it works.
Right, I'm going to try that one.
And I'm like, oh my God. And it just brings me straight back to like
just calmness.
Yeah. Even if I have to do that like 10 times in that like 5 minutes, it's bringing me back to the point where my mind stops wanting to be an autopilot and be an overthinker. Then it actually is preferring the calmer way of things, which sometimes we're not used to. We sort of get comfortable with chaos. And I think even more so when you're creative. Chaos naturally comes, because I think that's how we create sometimes. But sometimes we can really create beautifully when we're balanced level-headed, and that's like more of actually what we really want to create. Can
I give you? I'm going to tell you this one as well.
Yeah, go on.
It's not that deep, but like saying like morning routine.
Yeah.
So I think my first part of my morning routine, first hour, can't speak to anyone. I will not allow myself to speak to anyone. First hour, like even if I've checked my phone. Like I said, people, I'm ignorant, unapologetically ignorant. Don't care. But like my first hour has to be to myself. So that means if I want to, I can sit there I can sit in complete silence, which may seem very strange. I mean, no music, just listen to the wind, hear the birds sometimes chirping, like complete silence. May not even move out of bed. Go to the toilet. That's about as far as we go. But at first,
I'm glad you do that.
like just sat there like that. This is great. No.
We all do that until we really have to go, and then it's like, oh, okay.
It's like literally complete silence. Like there'll be some like podcasts that I watch. I like watching a lot of podcasts. I listen to. Have you heard of Inky Johnson?
No.
Oh, like, you have to. I'll look at him. He's insane.
Okay, I'll have a look.
He's insane. It's like there's him. Like I'll listen to like some. Obviously, you get your stuff on like TikTok.
Yeah. No, that's probably where I do actually watch a lot. By the way, we are on TikTok now. Soul Talk Podcast.
Oh, is it?
You know, yeah. And you know what? I want to say thanks for everyone that's actually been watching them, because they sort of hit off a lot better than I initially thought. And yeah, I do really appreciate everyone that is watching these podcasts, and more so hope that it's helping people.
Make sure you're following, guys. Make sure, trust me.
Do you watch any of Jay Shetty's
Sometimes,
stuff?
yes, I do actually. I watched the Thierry Henry one.
Okay, yeah.
That one really opened my eyes actually a lot. I've watched a few different ones, but that one was really that one hit home. Right? Only because you think, like we talked about earlier on, the celebrity aspect and like the things that he went through and like the perfection that like his career they required, because obviously the academy that he went to as a kid, which is obviously it's given us some great footballers that we've all watched, still watch to this day, like Kylian Mbappe's came from that academy, and he was talking about it all was great, but all of that, especially after his family life, it was all for the praise of his family life. Do you know what I mean? It's you put all this work in, getting to the highest of highs, and winning all the medals, the championships, you know what I mean, the cups, but end of the day, it's more for the accolades of the family. Do you know what I mean? Like where you come from is just sometimes just having a well done, and you know what I mean. And like I say, that's someone who's been on top of the mountain. So,
I didn't actually know that. I need to actually look at the backstory of that. The reason why it came up is because he did actually share something that is in line with what you said about not really speaking to people in the morning, and he was like, would you let 200 people? I don't know if this is something along these lines. It is on our Panda page if you want to have a look. But it was like, would you just let 200 people into your room in the morning?
No.
Because that's what you're doing as soon as you go on social media, and then before you know it, you're replying to messages and you're giving out all this energy, and you've only just woke up. For me, now, coffee is priority before you even start thinking about that. I love coffee. You love your coffee. I've had 2 today already, which is not a lot for me. I normally have double by now. What? As soon as we finish this podcast, I'm going to go and get another break.
Nah.
Yeah, I can get a bit shaky sometimes, but I just swear it's better for everyone in my life if I've had coffee first. I'm just telling you now, guys, but first coffee, always. Whoever wrote that was a genius. I'd get on with the person that wrote that. But, and it's the whole thing of, I was like, yeah, well, what's the difference? Am I going to talk to that many people in the morning? No. I'm the same. I don't want to compensate in the morning. If I sort of come into, contact with people who are very morning people, I'm like, I just need an hour. Not even sound, just a.
See, that's the flip of the coin though, because if I'm with people, same thing we thought earlier on. If I'm with people, say obviously staying out and whatnot, obviously everyone's in a room share and whatnot. That morning, I'm awake.
Yeah,
I think that I'm awake.
Yeah,
I was like, how are you even doing
I'm
this?
the person that's like, how are you doing this right now?
How? I'm like, yeah, man, we're here. It's time. The day is here. We're all together now. It's time. It is time. We're all going to be, we need to get to level 10.
The only morning I've ever been like that was my wedding morning.
Serious?
I could not sleep. I was too excited. Everyone was knocked out because I made them all stay up late, or I disturbed them through the night out of excitement. They were like, go back to sleep. And I'm like, okay.
The wedding was sick.
And then I think it was 6 a.m. And I was like, it's my wedding day! And I was jumping up and down the bed, and no one's used to me being like this. I'm not used to me being like this. And I was running in the rooms, and they were like, what time is it? I was like, I don't care, it's my wedding, everyone get up now. And they were all like, no. But, don't get me wrong, I would love to feel like that.
Not
But
all
when
the
you
time.
teach in the evening, the morning is your sort of respite
Yeah.
time. You know, that's one thing. Unless you actually work in the evening or you're a teacher or whatever in dance or fitness classes, you don't like realize actually how much your schedule and the downtime you need and stuff, how different that is in the day to someone who works like a 9 to 5.
Facts.
You know.
Can I ask you a question? Obviously, because I know you've done a lot.
You asked me a question.
Oh yeah, we're gonna flip this on its head. I know I'm getting talked about, but no, we can flip this on its head too. We can. Because I go through these thoughts quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like, do you think like, would you prefer to have a 9 to 5? Yeah, I'm throwing this one right out there.
You know why? Because this year it has really played on my mind. You know, and I go to and fro between both. You know, I feel like for me this is a process this year of would I do the 9 to 5 and then go to that and realize the grass isn't greener and that I'm so lucky with what I get to do. You know, because although the actual work itself is short hours, I think what I feel sometimes is, you know, and someone at a comp was saying this yesterday actually, that it was particularly with dance teachers and studio owners, is a 24-hour job. You know, you have to put things in place where you switch off, because if you don't, it is going to turn into that. So you go past a 9 to 5 job, you know. So sometimes you look at the 9 to 5 job and think, oh, there's a definite start and end of this job, and there's a definite boundary of this is your downtime, you know. And I can't say that there has been moments where I realised working for somebody, you know, when I previously worked for someone, we had this conversation before I opened my own studio.
Right.
And we sat down, we had a real lovely conversation, and she was so supportive of me moving forward into my own business, but also gave me good advice with it. And she said herself, when you work for somebody, you know, it is a lot easier that when you step into that role of you are managing your business and everybody else, things are going to change. You know, and at first I was like, oh no, it'll be all right. Like I've got loads of support and stuff behind me, and it literally changed overnight.
Right.
You know, it's so different when people are paying you then and not paying someone else to give you the wage. It's so different when you're the person they need to come to speak to, and it's not going through someone else, because you realise actually that owner was who was getting all the stick and the negative stuff, and you was getting all the nice stuff for the students. And I don't always know actually now why it works like that, because if it wasn't for that owner, that wouldn't exist in the first place.
Facts.
You wouldn't even have that space.
Exactly.
Somebody, an entrepreneur out there went, I'm going to create this for myself and other people, and bring in jobs as well for other people. And somehow it ends up turning. So I think that's probably what's been the hardest thing of like you to and fro of like, would a 9 to 5 just be easier, and would it be easier to work for somebody else? And it, you know, it goes back to what you were saying of like being in some sort of like system, but then when you've got to make the system yourself, they come with pros and cons, you know.
Definitely.
Luckily, and I think I've had to always come back to this, because I don't think I'd be here 17 years on. I think I would have gave this up a long time ago.
Yeah, that right. 17 years, guys.
No, it is true. And it builds your resilience, and you always have to come back to, have I got a purpose in what I'm doing? If I genuinely felt like I had no purpose and nothing to give, I don't think I'd be here. I think I would have gone either into another business or maybe back into a 9 to 5. But I feel like I created this because I knew I had something to give and purpose. I've always said, it doesn't matter what job I have, if I'm not helping somebody, there's no point in me doing it.
Right.
And so as long as I'm always helping people, I'm okay with that. If I'm not helping anybody, that's where I'll move into a different job. I know. And I know that in myself. It's so weird you asked me that question because that has been on my mind for like the last few months. I kid you not, I've had these conversations in the last coming weeks, so it's just bonkers that you just asked me that. But again, divine timing, you know. Maybe I needed to be asked that to be like, where am I at the moment?
Well,
you know.
Well, that's like, you've helped me, and honestly, that will help so many others as well. Do you know what I mean? Just like having this conversation, like, just about that. Like, it is.
So would you do a 9 to 5?
Like same thing. I've thrown this up literally quite a lot. I've thrown it over. I look and I'm like, so, I think I don't know. Like sometimes I look at it and I think, yeah, but for stability, yeah, I would. But like you said, it's creation and being able to be myself. That's where I feel like I'd struggle because I've always been able to be myself. Well, I say within certain reasons, been able to be myself.
But yourself in that moment.
Yeah, I can be. You know what I mean? I can just kind of just like be willingly like I don't have to wear a suit every day. I don't have to like wear a certain attire. Like I go to it with now. Like I'll have my certain attire because which I think everyone has their own.
Yeah, that's it. We have a level of individuality that you can't get in other jobs.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like I say, you know your schedule. I think it's good to know your schedule. Like obviously, if you want to do that, but I feel like it's the pros and cons. When I was trying to explain it, I'm like, I've got it in my head, but I just don't know how to explain it. It's the pros and cons. Like, yes, it's good to have a schedule, but I think having that bit of freedom as well, which is what we should be working towards, is freedom. Like, you can't have that.
Like, there's used to go across the screen because that is ultimately it's the goal, isn't it? Yeah, you know, you want more money, and it was totally just like trash. It was nice and tidy before we started. You want money, not because you want to be rich, because you want the freedom that comes with having enough money for things. You know, you want sort of a bit more happiness because you feel more free in yourself. Like there's so many things that we sort of long for, maybe probably material aspects that we don't realize that it's not the material we want, it's the freedom. It's the freedom.
And riches. I'm literally going to say this. I'm pointing this at the camera because I think this is everyone needs to know this. You don't need to be rich with money.
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say now. Because like the industry is crazy. Yes, there's people that have money and people that don't have money. That's great. Yeah, but also you got to I've seen a lot. Yeah, I've seen more people do without than people who do with. Yeah, and that threw my brain. That genuinely threw my brain. Like noticing, like, okay, I know people that have like. I'm not saying I've got this, and I'm not saying I've not got this. But at my level, my point where I'm at, I've seen people obviously who have more, and I've seen people who have less, and I've seen people do a lot more with less than I've seen people who have done with more. Yeah, and I'm like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I envy the people that are happy with less every time.
Yeah. Those are the people that I feel like, you know, don't get me wrong, I feel like maybe we can't tarnish the same sort of situation with the same brush. But those are the people that keep me grounded and get me back. And I feel like, you know, this is why I enjoyed lockdown. I know for some it was a horrendous process, but for me, I needed to go back to those just sort of necessities and basics to sort of start again and rebuild again, because I just will let in too much, you know. And you can get materialistic, like we all do it, like definitely.
We all want the fresh crepes. We all want this.
That's it.
Like now, it's obviously these days. No, it's not. I can't say.
What do you think this trend is now?
That's a good question.
I'm definitely someone who likes to try and keep with trends. You know, I always say I don't, and then I'll see it and be like, oh, next minute I'm shopping for that. Is that thing I've just seen?
See,
not always. I like my visual stuff as well.
You're very. I think you're very like. I feel like you're very grounded. You're a very grounded person. Like I feel like we've known each other long enough now. Definitely a very grounded person. Like, and I never thought about the material. I never thought that at all. Like, I feel like I said, whatever you have, you rock.
I can look like a total scruff some days. Like, but it's that whole thing of what you said of like, you know, you just want to sort of switch off from like having to appear like done up and stuff all the time.
Definitely.
Embrace that natural.
We came into this natural, guys. We came in this natural. Like, want to lead the same way. Like, that's the thing. Because
that's it.
Like I said, if people who have, like I said, a lot of material, you can get engulfed in just having material. And is it what is it doing? What is it doing for you? That's my question. What is it doing? What is it doing for you? Because, like I said, we're talking about we want freedom, we want time. Like being able to have time with people, you'll never buy that back.
No, you know, yeah, that's it. You know, and we all need reminding of that all the time. Is that you can never sort of material things come and go all the time, and you got to think about realistically. We're all born and then we die, and like, what do we take with us, and what do we leave behind? And what we leave behind is sort of legacy and the way we change people's lives and how we made them feel and how we made ourselves feel to do that as well while we were here. And like, when I really think about it, you know, and I was saying this to someone the other day where I was like, although I like material things, I'm not really into like big designer stuff and that. And it's just because I just try not to run with it that far where that becomes important to me, because I'm always so frightened if I ever was rich, and I honestly think this, that possibly I may not. I always have a little glimpse of like maybe not manifesting like huge richness in fear of like how I think I would possibly change in character.
Right.
There would be a big fear for me. I'd actually rather not have that if it meant compromising my character.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes complete sense.
Because I'd just be like so many other people, then I wouldn't be me and I wouldn't be able to do what I do.
When you start judging, you start like, I'm not saying like, not everyone, I'm not saying everyone does, but it is that judgment factor as well.
Yeah.
Like, some people do. You see it, some people don't do it, some people do it. Like, people do judge, oh, because I've got this and you haven't got that, well, you can only be here because like, you can't be in this situation. Like, and that can, like I say, that can bounce everything. Not saying everyone does.
Yeah, and you know, that starts at school and stuff.
Yes,
you know,
it does.
you know, that all comes from there of like, well, I've got this and so you've not got this, but it's in trend right now. So
I feel like we're taught that as well. Like, we actually through school, we actually are taught that. Obviously, people go, oh, like anti-bullying and all this, but really, in school, people you are allowed to be taught that. You're allowed to be taught, oh, well, do you know what? We don't want to be with these people. We don't want to be with these people. We don't want to be with these people. And there's so much segregation, like between people for no one actually understands the reason why. Like,
no, and it's almost like we sort of live by a sort of set program in a way then of like, this is how you feel and react when you don't have something someone else has got, you know. And actually it never changes that, you know. You do still do it now. Like, for me, I'm not having any kids or anything right now, but I'm surrounded by those people who's like pregnant or having kids. And like, I actually don't know how I feel about that right now. But like, it's just, you look at everyone else and you're like, oh, well, sure, I'll just have one. But it's not as easy as that. You're going through a whole process then of like, it's a big decision.
Definitely.
You know, first of all, I don't have space for it. I have to go in like the kitchen sink or something right now.
Oh, this sounds kind of crazy. I'm actually talk about the kids. It's actually talking about kids. Like, actually, we're at an age now where we definitely think about having kids. Like, we do. Yeah. I always go, I'd love a kid, but I don't want a partner. That's that. I draw the line. Draw the line there, man. Like, it's like, but
I wish there was an option to have like a part-time kid where like if it gets too much, like, I'll have you back in like a year when you're like not so naughty.
Nah, but then it just gets worse. It just gets
I mean, but just personally for me, it's not like a certain thing of like, I wanted to have kids by this age, you see. And so now I'm older and you feel like the clock's ticking or whatever, just more sort of like wanting to be healthy. I'm a bit confused now. And I'm like, do I want one because everyone else is having one? And
it's a hard decision because
I want to blow the cannon and see if it's a girl or a boy. Do you know, on a real though?
Not for real.
It's because it's sort of trending, and this is what you see on Instagram. This is what people are doing, and you'll know obviously from parents that have come through. Like, it is a hard job. It's a hard job as a parent. That's a job in its own. It is,
We work. I'm not saying people don't work. Like, people work.
We work,
like, guys. Like, how do you fit that in?
Yeah.
And also, I know you learn to fit it in, but you got to be okay with where you're at first.
Is that, do you know what? It's that, and like, definitely that. Once, I don't know if there's you're able to say like, I'm going to get that figured out, but once I feel better with that, I can then start thinking about, you know, the other stuff. Yeah,
because sometimes planning is not a bad thing. And I feel like you plan quite a bit to me.
I do, but then, you know, when we were saying earlier about like, the to-do list can start to get a bit much. And then when you're looking at what you're planning and you've not got to it yet,
the stress.
Last year, that threw me completely. Really? I was just so disappointed in myself that I had laid out all the, and you know, and I do this every January, I'm a big like vision board manifesto me, and look back at it and was like, half of that I've not done. Like, I haven't done half it. And I was so fuming with myself. And like, I spoke to a few people about it before Christmas, and they were shocked that I felt like that. Because, I mean, I do all this up here. This is all up here. I stay within my own thoughts a lot, me, because I'm very like you, where like I don't want to project it too much on other people. And if I do, I don't always have a stop button either. So then if I do, I feel like I'm really overwhelmed. You know, just like an emotional being.
Pisces.
And so Pisces, yeah. So, what are you?
Me, I'm a Cancer. My mum's a Pisces.
Are you? So we're water signs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I said this to someone else. I was like, we're water signs. This is why we just talk.
That's what we understand straight up.
Oh.
Yep.
There is so much sense. I know a lot about Cancerians. My brother and sister are both Cancerians. We're all water signs.
Stop it.
I thought I was emotional. Cancerian, so.
Yeah, it was me. I can't even deny it anymore.
You guys are complex, lovely beings. Like, would like being around that energy, but when you're complex and emotional, a whole nother level to Pisces. I'm just going to say it.
It's all making sense now, isn't it?
It's making sense, yes.
Yes, gang. The Cancerian
but you know, I have to say, water signs are just like gorgeous people.
We are
gorgeous people.
We're the best signs. We are. We're the best ones. Like, we are the best. I'll put it out there. I'm just saying, we are. Like, we really are. Like, because we're emotional. Like, we are emotional beings.
Yeah.
But we, you know, I mean, we're also caring. We can understand and.
That's it, you know, and I think actually what we struggle with the most as water signs is when that's not always reciprocated, because we can't, although everyone's so different, we can't always accept that we're not getting the same energy back. We get really upset by that.
Them fire signs, that's what it is.
Oh god, yeah, fire signs keep us on our toes.
Yeah. Fire signs. No, it's a no-go. It's a no-go, guys. If you're fire sign, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
I love you all. No. Can't go like.
I probably like.
All right.
I was saying this the other day as well. I probably at least get on with sort of Sagittarius, I think. I mean, I don't know a lot about like a lot of star signs, but I just find if I'm ever going to clash, it's always someone who's a Sagittarius.
That's nice.
I probably do get on with some, but generally,
she's a Sagittarius.
The Sagittarius are going to watch this now and be like.
Man, Leos. Every time I hear Leo, I'm like,
oh, I love Leo. My best friend's a Leo.
See, I think they're great people. It's just there's just something about it. I'm like,
I love Leo.
That'll send me under. The Leo sign send me under.
Well, I feel like what I know about Leos is they're very like they know what they want.
Yeah.
And sometimes aren't wanting to change that.
There's a ton
of visions about it. And they were like, well, what about no?
Nah, one of my good friends as well. Like he's a Leo. I'm like, Lord of mercy. Like I said, it's very headstrong, knows what he wants.
Yeah,
I'm just like, I can't deal with your chaos. Like, even I'm like, I get confused and I'm like, huh? How? Like, how is it? No.
Because I feel like it's just different chaos. I feel like everyone's probably got chaos, just we've all got different types of chaos, haven't we?
Yeah, there's certain chaos that you can like live without and you're just like, just relax. Like, that's not. But they may say that about us, though. They may also say that about us.
I know, 100%. There'll be so many people out there who are like, she is like complex. It all make Pisces. I get it. Like that all makes sense.
Use a complex. Yes, Pisces are very complex.
We are. Me and Adam are both Pisces.
Yeah, you are. Oh, yep.
And so we like react the same sometimes. Yeah. And so it's like looking at each other. It's like looking in the mirror. And so you're like, oh, what do I do with that? I don't know what to do with that because that's how I was going to react, but now you're reacting like that. And sometimes we have that where we're like, and most of the time we find out we're really bantery and just sort of giggle because we're just like, you just react like that. I mean, I don't know how to deal with that now. So
exactly, like you took out number one option.
That was what I was going to say. That was my comeback line. Do you know what I mean? But you know, you need those other earth signs. You know, you need them to bring you like.
I'll keep doing this because I got to make sure it's tied and we've got to keep it tied.
You know, we'll tidy it after. So the kids are going to come and trash it anyway. They like wrapping in these blankets. I actually bought them especially for the kids because it gets chilly in here, as you can sort of feel now. So they just.
The surrogate mother.
Honestly, they have full-on naps between classes sometimes. I know, you know, we are a cozy studio. Maybe we make it a bit too comfortable sometimes.
Yeah, you're getting nuts. Yeah,
start turning it into a B&B.
No, but the thing is, that means it's homely though. And if
it's very homely.
Then that's the place to be.
There is home in the house.
Yes.
Is what it is.
house that you created. Yeah.
I feel like we're full on chatting so much shit right now.
Hey, that's the best way. It's combo.
You know what? We've brought up so much stuff though, and it's been so nice to have this conversation, and it's been the realest of real.
Yep.
Do you feel better?
I feel absolutely
you end up feeling like
elated. I feel like it's been amazing. Like, first of all, thank you for having me on the pod.
That's
like,
right.
as soon as you asked me, I was like, "Yep, yes, when? Like, when are we doing this?" Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. And I feel like people come on who have really meant to come on for themselves, and to share with people what you want to share.
It's been like